Thank you so much for that introduction. I really appreciate it. Can you all hear me at the back? Yes, so I'm here representing the South African National Geography Olympiad, which was started back in 2017, and very gratefully to UNISA that has constantly allowed me to use their time to work on this project. Okay, so we started off, actually it was a decision made in 2016 to launch the South African National Geography Olympiad. It was we were asked to do this on behalf of the International Geography Olympiad, because the idea was to get some learners to the International Geography Olympiad, which I must say we did manage to do. And we were an organization entirely composed of volunteers. So without these volunteers, myself and Milton were two of them. Without them, we would never have got this competition launched at all. And we also made a decision for cost reasons to go with online. At the time, I can tell you, we knew nothing about running online competitions. We learned it as we went along. But we found that there were a number of challenges. We found that many different stakeholders had different ideas about what was needed or what was wanted. And as I said, we were unaware of all the issues around online competitions. We learned the hard way, paid a lot of school fees, as we would say. So we ran a pilot in 2017 where we used free online software in the form of Google Forms, but we found that, yeah, it's free online software for a reason. It creates a lot of admin headaches. We also had teachers pretending to be learners and entering the competition. And yeah, you wouldn't think that's possible, but it is. And it had various limitations. So then in 2018, we managed to find the money to outsource. We outsourced to a company that was in South Africa, and they promised us they were South African, and they are South African. What they didn't tell us is they outsourced it to India, which was a nightmare. I mean, we were just on 2 different time zones, let alone Indian English and South African English are not the same English. Yeah, and the whole server collapsed. It was turned out to be really high costs. There were data security issues where data was lost. It was a nightmare. In fact, we ended up refunding some schools their money due to this nightmare. What I can tell you, it was the outsourced company used Moodle. Anybody heard of Moodle? Yeah, so Moodle is a swear word for us. And the fact that the Australian inventor of Moodle is worth $5 million US, I wish I could sue him for all the trauma his platform put us through. So what we did is we decided to build our own platform. And now this is where the issue comes in about volunteerism, okay? Because we never planned this back in 2016. So we got on board ourselves with a software developer who basically, for very small sums of money, devoted his time. His name is Greg Bengus, and he helped us, Milton and I, to really put this new platform together, and became a labor of love. We feel like the Geography Olympiad is our own child with 3 parents. But by doing that, we were able to create various solutions for our problems. I mean, we could do automated emails, issue certificates, etc., etc. And it's helped us grow enormously. Back in 2017, we had just under 1,000 learners. We are now sitting at 19,000 learners that we've reached to date. So we're very pleased with that. Here is an example of one of the pages and our system. And here is an example of the kind of layout and questions we ask. So we try and make all our questions visual, and then there's various options. Of course, the whole system is marked online, and it gives us automatic feedback. And we can rate these as which students did, or which learners did well in which questions. You wouldn't be surprised to discover that learners struggle much more with physical geography than with human geography. And one of the issues with that is that a lot of the physical geography has been put into the physical science curriculum. I'm sure you're aware of that. And unfortunately, the average physical science teacher is not particularly trained in that or interested in that. So a lot of that becomes a self-study section, right? So they struggle. Anyway, here's some examples of our kids taking the system, taking the competition. It can be done on a tablet or a cell phone or a computer or a laptop. And our system can also issue certificates, as you can see. And for 2021 and 2022, we were really proud that we achieved one of our major outcomes in that we were able to send teams to the International Geography Olympiad. So that was in 2021. One of the participants, in this case, Abigail, came back with a bronze medal. So we were really proud of that. And then in 2022, another of our participants, Adam Bertoli, came back with a bronze medal as well. So we were really proud. They were both 2021, 2022 online. So the kids were actually here in South Africa and participated online. Our problem, in inverted commas, this year is that our team will actually have to be able to go to Indonesia, Jakarta, to participate. So we're currently trying to fundraise. If anybody knows somebody who's got spare cash, please let us know. And during this process, which is really the heart of my presentation today, is that we learned that there's limits to what volunteers can do, because we had to learn the hard way that there's lots of things that need to be done. We needed logos, and I've handed out our flyer to you guys. You can see the logos. We needed a website. We need to pay hosting fees. We needed email addresses so that we would have, you can't just use Gmail. We needed cloud storage. In fact, we have 2 cloud storages as a backup. I haven't put it in here, but we all needed to go and buy, backup batteries for the load shedding. We found that software, it's like a farm. You are always doing work in the back end, and bugs just arrive. You can go to bed one day and have your system perfect. It's perfect. You wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock and it's just not working. It's amazing. We also had to, of course, work on the content, trying to find as well copy-free images, which I can tell you, as a developing country, that is crazy. There's many organizations that want to charge us up to 10,000 Rand per image, which is ridiculous. Even though we are an educational institution and we send all the forms through, they're pretty much adamant. So we have to spend an enormous amount of time trying to find copyright-free images. And don't tell me that ChatGTP and AI is going to solve that problem. We've tried it. It's not there yet. And then there was also setting of the modules, setting of moderation, dealing with cheating, putting systems into our online system to pick up cheating if they were leaving the window and stuff like that. Selecting the winners, in terms of making sure that all the scores are added up and balanced between round 1 and round 2, because round 2 is a pen and paper written test. Paying for our marketing, getting somebody that actually knows something about marketing, because I myself, as an academic, I know very little about marketing. Trying to weigh up the cost benefits. And again, some companies want to charge a fortune for marketing. The Sunday Times is about 50,000 Rand for some of the adverts that they wanted us to buy, which obviously we couldn't. Finding prizes and doing the organizational structure and the technical expertise required. So although Sango started off as this bunch of volunteers, over time we found that we had to start recruiting different people that can help us become professionalized. So we found that, for an organization like us, and like many of you may be part of with an Olympiad, is it needs time, it needs experience, it needs expertise, and it needs that passion to keep going, the dedication, the working over weekends, and that kind of thing to make it a success. But we also found that you need to comply with legislation. So we became a registered nonprofit that required legal expertise. We needed to make sure we got a SARS number. We needed bookkeeping because, you've got to then submit audited accounts to SARS, which we've recently done for the last 2 years. So we're very proud of ourselves. The auditing fees alone, let me tell you, cost 10,000 Rand. You need to find that if we don't have somebody like myself, where I am actually paid by UNISA and allowed to spend some of my time on this, the volunteers don't actually have that necessarily time and money to just devote many, many hours or many, many days per week to do that. And we also lack the skills. I mean, you need a proper bookkeeper, somebody who knows how to do it. SARS is not going to accept something scribbled on a piece of paper, right? So we ended up having to find somebody who knew something about marketing. We had to do a lot of the software development and find people to do artwork for us, et cetera, et cetera. So really the most important message I'm hoping that I'm being able to communicate to you is volunteers are very, very important. It helped get Sango off the ground, and we're still here. I mean, I'm still here because it basically became a baby of mine that I was determined to nurture come hell or high water. But, we couldn't do without the professionals in order to be as sustainable. And so that leads us to financial sustainability. An organization, a nonprofit like ours, needs to be financially sustainable. So we do that in multiple ways. We have some revenue generated by the fees. We charge fairly low amounts of fees. And for our quintile 1, 2, and 3 schools, they get 2 for the price of 1. So if they pay for 1 learner, they actually get 2 learners that can enter. And then there are still schools that if they want to enter and they can't pay at all, they write to us and we actually allow them to participate free of charge, providing they're a quintile 1, 2, and 3 school. You'd be amazed how many private schools ask us if they can participate free of charge. And we're like, no. It's very interesting. Anyway, but we've also learned that another way to generate income other than donor funds, because we had donor funds for a number of years as well, is that we, inadvertent commerce, sell. We don't really sell our services, but we offer our services in exchange for payment. And right now we are helping the International Geography Olympiad run and host their, there's an online bit of their competition as well as face-to-face. So we're helping them with the online bit. That's when our exchange rate is really nice because we get more rands when our rand is weak. But the problem is that when we have to pay for our learners to go and compete internationally, then of course the rand exchange rate is against us. And we also obviously seek donations in order to keep ourselves going. And the other thing that we've done is starting on the request of teachers, we've started to offer other Olympiads, which has helped us to bring in some more revenue. And it becomes a bit of a catch-22. If you want to generate a revenue to keep yourself going, you need to be professional. You need to have that NPO certificate. You need to show, have a professional website and stuff like that, all of which costs money. So overall, if I can say, I don't know what's happened to my slide. Oh, it's gone. Okay. Is that volunteers are very important. And I know that there are some other presentations coming along today and tomorrow around volunteerism. And I'm not saying that we don't have volunteers. We just feel from our own experience that volunteers alone are not going to help make sure the organization is sustainable and can live beyond us. That actually somebody else can come along and take over the role that I'm playing in it. If I get tired of it one day or run over by a truck, that somebody else will carry it on. And I think that's something important for us in the nonprofit sector and the education sector alone, because a lot of people think education should be free. Like I said, we get private schools asking us to waive the entry fees. But actually, no, it needs money, unfortunately, and professionalization. Thank you.
It is 2 eyes.
I didn't see it.
So when your brain goes here, right, at the bottom, right?